Today we are back in Riverside, California with professional dog trainer Bethany Preud'homme at her business PH Dogs, and we're going to be doing some training.
I have Dallas here. She's a little miniature dachshund and she is scared of life. So she's here for our board and train program, and I'm going to explain how to introduce a scared dog to a new person. So I've got my dog on a leash, and that way they can't run away from me, they can't go hide. I don't want them to be too scared. I'm going to kneel down, I'm going to turn my body perpendicular to her, so I'm not going to lean over her, and I'm going to kind of put my hand out if she wants to sniff. You can see she's like, let's go to the exit. So I'm going to kind of pull her a little bit towards me. If she takes a step, I'm going to relax my leash. I'm going to ask for a little bit more, relax my leash. See if she wants to sniff. Good girl. Good. If she's still staying away, I can ask her, put a little bit of leash pressure. She walks towards me, relax my leash. Whenever you're going to pet a scared dog for the first time, you're always going to want to go under their chin. So if I reach over, that can be very scary, especially for very small dogs. So I'm going to put my hand under, and I'm going to kind of just scratch right under here. Then I can slowly kind of work around to the side, see if they have any favorite spots. And then what I'm going to do, she's tolerating it really well, so now I'm going to take away some tension. I'm going to walk away from her. I'm going to kneel down and try it again. See if she wants to come towards me. She doesn't, so I'm going to pull her just a little bit. She gives in to the leash, relax. Pull her a little bit more. She gives in, I relax. Good. Curious. Couple pets, take away the tension, walk away. So every time I let her walk, I'm letting her kind of shake it off and get rid of any stress. If I stay with her for too long and I'm putting too much pressure on her, she can get overwhelmed. I call that an oh shit moment. So some dogs will come up, they'll take your food and they go, oh shit, and then they react. They had motivation for the food, but once the food is gone, they say oh shit, and then they get really nervous, and that's where some dogs will take food and then they go to bite. Because their motivation for the food was there, but then the fear was more after the food is gone because now they're stuck here with this person. So if I have a dog that's very nervous, sometimes a very nervous dog that will react and bite, I will not use food initially. I'll just get them comfortable. Because sometimes when you use food, they put themselves in a predicament where they are braver because of the food, but then once the food is gone, they get really scared and that's where they're more likely to bite. So again, just a little bit of leash pressure. Good, relax. Pet under the chin. Good girl. And this is where you want to kind of play hard to get. So a lot of people are like, oh, the dog's letting me pet them. And then they pet the dog all over and they just smother the dog with pets. You want to play hard to get. So I want to leave them wanting more. So then I'll kind of walk away. Under the chin. A little bit of pets. Walk away. Let her kind of get rid of some stress, let her exercise, let her kind of shake it off. Kneel down again, invite her to come towards me. Little pull, good. Now that she's a little bit more comfortable, I'm gonna see if she'll take food again. Good, so this is a good gauge of comfort, right? So dogs won't eat when they're stressed. So when she first came out, she didn't want my treat. I walked around a little bit, I did some under the chin pets, I let her sniff me, I did a little bit of leash pressure to get her to come towards me, and now she's comfortable enough that she'll take food. If the dog will not take food from your hands, sometimes they'll take it off the ground. So you can try putting the treat down and then walking away. This is what we call treat and retreat. So I'm gonna treat her and then I'm gonna retreat and walk away. I'm gonna kind of pull her towards me, she comes to me, give her the treat, and then I'm going to retreat. I'm going to walk away. She comes towards me, I give her the treat, and again, I can just put it on the ground. These treats are pretty big for her. She eats the treat, I retreat. So treat and retreat. So what I don't want to do with a scared dog is I don't want them to come and take my food and they grab the treat and they dash. Right? A lot of dogs will do that. They come, they snatch it, and they run away. So by doing the treat and retreat, I'm the one who's walking away, and that allows the dog to be forward, because with scared dogs, I want them to be forward. So treat, and I retreat. And again, for a small dog, these treats are a little bit big. And I can use my leash when she's done chewing. If she were to get stuck out there, I can just do gentle leash pressure. Good. Treat and I retreat. Now if you notice, I'm starting to kind of stand over her. So I'm starting to add a little bit more pressure on her. So I'm standing more forward, I'm bending over, she treats, I take off the pressure, I walk away. I'm bending over her, giving her the treat, I take off the pressure, I walk away. Good job, little lady. Once you have a scared dog that's comfortable with you, it's time to start to introduce them to other people. So I've got a slip lead on her so that way she can't back out and get out of her collar. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Nate turn and kneel down so you're perpendicular to her, and then I'm going to just hand him the leash, and then I'm going to back away. So when I back away, the dog is going to want to follow me. That's normal. So do you have some treats in your hand, Nate?
I do.
Okay, so he's gonna get some treats ready. And go ahead and just kind of pull her a little bit towards you. Good. So as soon as she takes just a step towards you, you can relax the leash. Good. And then go ahead and just toss her the treat and we'll see if she'll eat it. Good. And then go ahead and just pull her a little bit more.
Come on, baby. Good.
So again, in that one little step, he relaxed the leash and rewarded.
I'll see if she'll take one from my hand.
Good, and then perfect. So I was gonna say, I was gonna stand up, walk away, let her kind of get rid of some stress. And you notice now I'm her safety blanket, right? So before she was scared of me and now she's running and trying to jump on me. That's normal. I'm just gonna ignore her. She has to be friends with everybody else too. So her owner was complaining about barking.
I'm out of treats.
Yep, here you go. So her owner was complaining about barking. She said this dog barks at everything, stop the barking. We want her to be quiet. With her, barking is a symptom of her fear. So whenever she gets scared, she sounds the alarm. So she barks at other dogs, at people, at noises, at things that she finds strange or scary. So we're building up her confidence, and by doing that, the barking will go away because the barking is a symptom of her fear. The barking is not the problem.
That was probably a good session for her.
Yep. So then again, that's right. You want to end on a good note. So if I pushed it to the point where you ran a treat, she was full, somebody made a loud noise or something and she got really freaked out, I'm going to end on a bad note. So I want to try to end while she was taking food from you, she was approaching you, she wasn't running for the hills, she wasn't bolting towards me. So that's a good note to end on. So even if you have people over to your house, the dog doesn't need to hang out the whole time. I can give my dog breaks. So I can invite my people in, show them what to do, give them some treats, bring my dog down for 5-10 minutes max if I want, have a good experience and put the dog up. Maybe an hour later, I can bring the dog down again, have everybody already have the treats, have everybody feed the dog and put the dog up. I would rather do that and have short controlled lessons or sessions with the people than say we're watching football and all of a sudden someone stands there, touchdown, and the dog goes running and barking to the other room and all my work just went out the window. Some dogs recover very quickly, some dogs, those things matter. So if you have a dog that is very sensitive, it's better to keep it short and sweet and on a good note and put the dog away while they're being successful. Don't push it to the point where people are like, okay, now I'm gonna do 2 hands and go love on the dog or try to kiss the dog in the face. So try to end on a good note.
And even though this is working on a behavioral issue as far as fear goes, it's still training. And so it's a training session that you're doing. So just like any training, as you said, which is an important note, is you want to keep it short, you want to keep it nice and sweet, and as you said, ending on a good note. People make that mistake all the time. They have their dog out, just like you said, and they're like, well, we got to keep the dog out all the time. Yep. And now it's an environment where they think they're benefiting the dog, but they're overwhelming the dog. It's
Yep.
too much, and it's for too long of a period of time.
That's right. And also, everybody has their opinion about dog training. You can ask 4 different people, even 4 different trainers, how you do one thing, and they're all going to give you different answers. It's not that one is right or one is wrong, but you know your dog's best. You have to be their advocate. So if you know that Uncle Joe always drinks a lot and gets super loud and thinks that he knows more about dogs, for me, it's not worth getting into a family feud over something where I have a strong opinion on it, right? So it's not worth me ruining my relationship with that person. It's better for me to go, here, Uncle Joe, give the dog some treats. Thank you so much for helping. Okay, I'm gonna go put the dog away now. I already took him for a hike. I've got a bully stick or a stuffed Kong or something for my dog to do. I don't want them to think that I'm just locking them up. It's like good things happen also when you're put away, but not every dog is designed, would enjoy or should be hanging out during Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas. You have people that are going to feed your dog from the table, people that are going to stare at the dog, kids that are going to go, what happens if I blow in the dog's face? You know, kids are going to be kids, dogs are going to be dogs. Drunk Uncle Joe is going to be drunk Uncle Joe, right? So it's better if you know that these people don't follow directions, they're not ready to hang out with my dog.
And with a dog that does have fear issues, what are some other confidence building exercises that you like to do with dogs that is transferable to other issues where they may be less afraid to build it up in one area to transfer it to another part?
So I like to prepare my dogs for all the weird things that people are going to do to them. So if people are going to bend over my dog, I want to train that. So I can desensitize my dog to that. So like she didn't like the two hands coming towards her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two hands and then a treat. So I'm not going so close to her, I'm just showing her that picture, and then now that's a precursor to something good happening. Now this next time I'm going to go a little bit closer and I'm going to reward her. So now instead of two hands coming towards you being something that's scary and sending her to back away, she goes, oh, something good happens when two hands come towards me.
And that would be a great example of counter conditioning.
Exactly.
You're taking something that she may have been afraid of and now you're making it predict something pleasant. And that's something people could do with anything that they notice their dog might be afraid of, but starting, of course, as you did, farther away, so smaller steps than increasing as a dog.
And although like I was explaining the video to put your hand under the chin versus reaching over, I want to desensitize my dog to that. And you can see when I did that, she lowered her head down, right? So again, I'm going to counter condition, desensitize her, and if I wasn't talking, I'd be marking it with a yes. So I'll do it this time. So I'll wait till she's paying attention. Yes. Reward. If I know that people are going to go, what a cute dog, right? Again, that's send her running to the hills.
Right.
And that's with me that she likes. So if I can't go, hi, and scruff my dog's head, I can't expect her to tolerate that from a new person. So we'll work through that. This is a perfect example. So I'm going to do the waving over my dog's head in a treat. So dogs aren't made of glass. A lot of people go, oh my God, let's stop. Like that was too much. She went running. Look, she's just eating, right? So don't be afraid. Don't overwhelm your dog. If they're pooping themselves and peeing themselves and they're not recovering, obviously it's too much. But I know that I can work through this issue with this dog right now. So a lot of people see that and go, oh my gosh, dogs can't have fear. Fear is part of it, right? The dog is fearful. If we never stress them a little bit, but have them be successful, it's very difficult to have any kind of growth, right? Stress and growth is together. If you never go outside of your comfort zone, you're never going to grow as a person. So I don't want to be scaring the snot out of her every single time. I know for her, that was way over threshold. That was more than she could tolerate, right? It sent her running, but I'm going to build on it. So just a little one like that. And again, food comes after.
And in the beginning, when she was first coming out, something that's important, which a lot of people end up doing instinctively, is looking at the dog, making eye contact. Which it's good to build up on that, but if the dog is very fearful, just like turning away from the dog, as you said earlier, not having direct eye contact in the beginning is also important. If the dog is afraid of that, using the counter conditioning, maybe looking and then marking and rewarding and taking that pressure off of the dog simply by looking away.
And just like we do duration for stay, it's the same thing for eye contact. So I'm gonna look 1 second, reward and look away. 2 seconds, reward and look away. Build up to 5 seconds until I can sit there and just stare at my dog's face and they're like, food is coming, food is coming. Right. It's no longer a threat, I'm no longer challenging. They're like, anytime somebody stares at me, it's, again, food is gonna come.
And she's doing great. I mean, she seems to be way more relaxed just off of this short session.
Yeah, and with her, it's not going to be something that happens overnight. It's going to be, again, dogs are very bad at generalizing. So I need to be able to do all these things to her. You need to be able to do all these things to her. And then we go to the front yard and we do it. And we go to the store and we do it. And then I have another person do it. Dogs need to have, say, about 50 to 100 people do it before they're like, okay, people are good. A lot of times people don't have access to that number of people, which is why I usually recommend boarding and training programs, because whenever somebody comes up to drop off the dog, here, pet this dog, I can put the dog away. I've got my employees, I've got people that come for tours, I go to in-home lessons, we take the dogs out. Sometimes a socialization training lesson is going to Starbucks and just hanging out for as long as it takes before my dog lays down. And when my dog finally settles and lays down on their own, that tells me that they're relaxed enough to be comfortable enough to lay down. Me telling my dog is different than them offering that calm behavior. So if it takes me 2 hours, that means I'm sitting at Starbucks for 2 hours and waiting for them to go, okay, I'm comfortable enough and relaxed enough that I can offer this more submissive position and relax. And once they lay down, okay, now we get to go home. So again, they offer that calm position and they get out of there. So they learn the faster they settle, the faster they get to go home.
And that makes me think of another common question that people have when it comes to doing this type of training, really any training. How do they know when to move forward? How do they know when to put a little bit more pressure on the dog? What certain signs or body language do you look at with a dog when you're working on these fear issues?
A lot of it is just, unfortunately, it's just experience, a lot of it. But whenever something's a piece of cake, you need to move on. So if you're at a park and your dog is scared of kids and you're so far away, the dog has zero interest, is just staring at your food, you need to make it harder. You need to get closer. They need to be aware of whatever it is that they're scared of. If I have a dog that is just so focused on my treats and I'm 200 yards away, I'm just wasting my time. The threshold that I like to train at is where the dog is aware, but they're able to be successful. I want my dog to go, okay, there's a guy there. Mom, do you see there's a guy there? And a little bit of stress, but I want to make sure that I'm able to end on a good note. I don't, like I said, I don't want to push them to the point where they're running for the hills or they're barking and lunging and they're really freaking out. I want where they're a little bit stressed, but they're able to be successful.
And if someone does progress too quickly, what's a good recommendation for them as far as fixing what they may have?
You can always go back. A lot of people are always scared to kind of take a couple steps back, but you can always go back. You can always go back to your foundation. So if I have a dog that is scared of kids and I got to where I was within 20 feet of the playground, but then school got out and 40 kids ran and my dog was like, oh my gosh, and freaked out, that's fine. I'm gonna add more space, but I'm not gonna end on that bad note. I'm going to find a distance where my dog is comfortable, where they can be successful, where they're aware of it, but they're able to take food, where they're able to kind of process, they're able to lay down, they're able to give me some eye contact and maybe do some short little fun behaviors, and then I'm gonna leave. So a lot of people, when it gets scary, when it gets where the dog is acting out, they wanna run home. That's where you really need to start training.
So don't freak out if they progress too quickly. Go back a couple steps, even 3 if that's what's needed, and then work your way back up. Sorry, I had a fly on my head.
Yeah, it's always okay to go back. You want to work on your dog's pace. So they may have a great week and then they have a really bad week. That's part of it. So a lot of people don't realize that mistakes are part of training. If I keep my dog in this little perfect bubble and I only take them out for walks when there's no other dogs around and I only introduce them to the same 5 people, if my life is like that and I live in a bubble and I only walk my dog at midnight because that's my work schedule, that's fine. But if you want to be able to take your dog out, if you want to be able to introduce them to people, you need to practice those things.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you leave a comment, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.